OpenAI released a video showcasing their newest feature called Sora, which is a text-to-video engine. Just like how you can create AI images, you can now create full-fledged videos with a single prompt. You may have seen some of these examples already. They've released even more on their YouTube channel. And even though at first it seems mind-blowing, playing them back frame by frame reveals something interesting. I mean, looking at this example of a dancing kangaroo, some frames look really good, but the others look super wonky. And you can especially notice this when you play it one frame at a time. You can use these less than and greater than symbols on your keyboard on YouTube to kind of move it frame by frame. And this leads me to believe that maybe this AI algorithm is using frame interpolation. Like if it has to generate, say, a 30 FPS video or a 60 FPS video, that means that it has to create 60 images per second. That's a lot of processing. So I'm assuming that instead of creating 60 unique images using your prompt, maybe it's creating, say, 20 or 25 images and then interpolating them together, like adding frames in between them. That's why it kind of looks wonky, like the leg extends and there's some extra limb from time to time, but then it disappears. And this frame interpolation or motion interpolation isn't anything new. It's used for a long time to make a lower frame rate video look higher frame rate, especially for slow motion in movies. It's not easy to spot, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's super obvious after that. Again, I could be completely wrong, but just by looking at this as a viewer, that would be my educated guess that that's how the algorithm's working. Now, you may have noticed when there are multiple objects or animals popping out, they seem to generate out of nowhere. And that's again where the frame interpolation is kind of playing a role, I assume. Because if I use that same prompt and generate a picture using a regular image generator, it does generate a few images that look similar. So it's probably just putting them together and having some motion in between them. So far, the IRL shots, like the in real life drone shots, they look the best in my opinion because they have a very gradual motion and they are pretty easy to replicate. So like MKBHD said, these will be great for stock videos. What I did notice was that for something completely unrealistic, like these pirate ships floating in coffee, the textures don't match. The ships are of super high resolution, but the coffee is, it has a lot of depth of field. AI is just taking a bunch of pictures and compositing them on top, so it doesn't always match the texture and the lighting. But it is still shockingly impressive in many cases, like this one, the Tokyo winter scene. It has nailed down almost everything, and in this scene, most people are wearing masks and heavy clothing, so that makes it easy to hide any imperfections. So shots like these can be easily pulled off, except maybe the letters, like alphabets. I can't read these alphabets anyway, so for someone like me, this could be accurate. But I've seen AI mess up words and letters in the right order because it doesn't know. And this scene with the car moving and the drone following the car is pretty impressive. It does match the shadows from the tree as well, but it does miss in a few occasions, like right there. Did you see it? And this one also, the scene from Lagos, Nigeria, was pretty good. Except for this child's hand that kind of comes out of nowhere for some reason. Human faces still seem to be the most complicated thing. I mean, look at this atrocity. The cat has 2 paws and her arm is dislocated somewhere. This is a mess. And this is the one they showed. Like, imagine the ones they rejected. Bruh. By the way, it does have a watermark on the bottom right side. I tried to remove that using any random watermark remover, and it hardly took me 10 seconds to get this result. Look at it. It's pretty good. So yeah, it's pretty easy to hide that watermark even without cropping. So OpenAI needs to do something different with these, because not everyone will be looking for imperfections when they see a video on social media. They'll just see it. The reason why you and I can see so many imperfections is because we know that these are AI generated. But anyway, that was my observation. It seems to be using some kind of a frame or motion interpolation in its algorithm to optimize it. It may be easier than generating images from scratch, but then again, I don't know. That's just my guess. I mean, for 3D animated looking pictures, you don't have to worry about realism too much because it's already fake, isn't it? So that would be the most innocent use case for this AI. But these realistic drone shots will be tough to spot whether they are real or AI generated. It can even mimic realistic camera movement sometimes, which was pretty impressive. And for individual shots without any composition needed, it can actually move the background blur, like the depth of field, pretty realistically. Like this shot of the Chinese dragon. I would really believe if you told me someone shot this on their phone. It really looks like a phone footage. Like this shot really blew my mind. Not only does it have motion blur and moving elements, but it also has consistent reflections. Like if I go back and move frame by frame, you can see that the reflections of the people rendered on the glass is pretty consistent. That's pretty impressive because this entire thing is AI generated. It even maintains the parallax pretty convincingly. Wow. That shot was probably the best looking realistic shot I have seen. And this shot will help recreate unrealistic situations like these paper planes flying through the trees. There is no way to recreate that easily in real life without using CG, so some CG artist will have to work extremely hard to make that happen. And now the same artist can use this tool and then work on it a little bit maybe. Like that's the ideal workflow I'm envisioning, some way that this thing integrates with their existing CG workflow. I mean, we already have AI tech that can make regular videos look animated, so that'll probably save animators a lot of effort and help them increase their storytelling capability. Or I don't know, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but it's too early to tell. If you haven't seen the full video, go check it out. It's on OpenAI's YouTube channel. I'll link it down below and let me know what you think about this.